Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 490. I cannot believe we're 10 days away from 500 days of this war, but we are. Day 490, of course. It is Wednesday, June the 28th. We are still coming out of the flush out, I will call it that, from this weekend's coup d'etat. Prigozhin, Lukashenko, Putin, Shoigu, all kind of stuff. We're going to cover all of it tonight. We're going to start, if you saw the thumbnail, you were talking about the nuclear threat that is now in Belarus, and it's confirmed. We're also going to talk about some things that unfolded in Russia today, and we're going to focus on the strike in Kramatorsk, which is actually one of our base cities. And this is a place Jenny and I have been many, many times. And finally, we'll give you a front update. So thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to support, to give, to like, share, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon, do everything. All we're trying to do is help. So we thank you for being here tonight. And without further ado, I'm going to bring the man in here and we're ready to go. Welcome, sir. Good morning.
Good evening.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Well, we've got a lot to cover, and let's jump right into it. Zhenya coming to us tonight from Ukraine, and we're going to start here. So Lukashenko responded after the weekend, made quite a few speeches. Here is some images of him talking to his general staff, his military leaders, and high-ranking government officials. Instead of playing his speech, it's so boring and long that I'm just going to, with Zhenya, give you the updates on that tonight. So a lot of information coming from Lukashenko today, and we'll start with this. First of all, he has confirmed that Prigozhin, who he has called a hero, is inside Belarus. Additionally, he stated, "My position is, if Russia collapses, we will remain under the rubble. We will all die," Lukashenko. He also asked for the country not to shy away from the new hero. You guys catch that? The new hero, Prigozhin. Currently, quote, "corpses are planted on the Belarus border. Drone strikes and other almost daily provocations take place." Let me show one more thing, Zhenya, and we'll get your opinion on it right here. Additionally, he says, and I know people here wanting to know about the nuclear, he said some of the nuclear weapons are already in Belarus. Its maintenance is handled by the Russian military because locals have no experience. First of all, nukes are there. Secondly, we know the Russian military is there. Additionally, he said Yevgeny Prigozhin is already in the Republic of Belarus, and the militants, meaning the PMC, are in the Lugansk region of Ukraine. The authorities offered the Wagners one of the abandoned parts or places to set up their accommodations, so we know that is now confirmed. Also, mercenary recruitments. Wagner will not be allowed, according to Lukashenko, to recruit new members. And finally, commanders of the Wagner private military corps will transfer their combat experience to the Belarusians, and we've also heard, and we are aware that they're transferring their heavy equipment over in Ukraine to the Russian military. More about that in a minute. So that's where we're at with Lukashenko. What are your thoughts on? It looks like we could see more activity from Belarus on the north as we go forward.
Yeah, it looks like much more activity there, but still, I don't believe Lukashenko. I don't trust. And I believe he says what Putin wants, and still Lukashenko, he starts in what he believes. If Russia would fall, we will disappear, and he means his government, him personally, his system. Yes, so he will protect Russia as I don't know, as mother, whatever. And yeah, but it was pointed before the Wagner will be in Belarus. Putin pointing at this, and by Wagner they meaning not just Prigozhin, but his commanders and all the people, his people, let's say, who's staying with him, who's choosing to stay in Belarus. What if it's almost unified country? It's Russian military years there on the Belarusian side. What is the difference?
Correct. His speech was quite interesting. I listened to all of it, chose not to translate it because it's just so long. And to get to the key points, I would have had to chop it all up and it would have been incoherent. But he told the entire story of how he had arranged to have a call with Vladimir Putin, and they were calling each other Sasha and Volva, and everything so personal. Of course, Lukashenko's name is Alexander, and his nickname would be Sasha. Everything's personal, and Volva's saying, listen, I need your help on this one. And and Lukashenko said, well, I need Prigozhin's number. And Putin said, well, I can get the police to give that to you. And Lukashenko came in, saved the day, saved the Russian Federation. And like you said, what you're talking about is if Russia falls, if Putin was to fall, Lukashenko and his regime would fall as well. That's what he's referring to. But time will tell. We do know that, stated on multiple sources out of there, whether they're lying or not, they're stating the nuclear tactical nukes are there, that Prigozhin is there, and that Wagner will be cooperating. So time will tell, and that's where we're at on that. I'll tell you this, I don't like anywhere that Wagner is because they're criminals.
Yeah, they're criminals, and it's proven that they were supporting and supplied by Russian government. We don't know how much in real they have and they had. We don't know how much they giving out or leaving to them, and how much will remain. So we will see. Yes, the time will show, but we cannot ignore any of this.
Well, let me ask you this question. Of course, we know the answer to this, but let's go here and we'll go here. Prigozhin wanted this man gone. That was his request, to eliminate Shoigu. We can confirm today that Shoigu has not only not been removed, not eliminated, he was also given a state award today when Vladimir Putin was giving a speech. He was given an award saluting his heroism and marking him as a hero for putting down the coup attempt. Now, we will say this. You sent me this just a few minutes ago. Comment on this joker here. I'll give you the picture. This is, who is that?
Surovikin.
Okay. Now, that's the guy on the left. Now, that is a general. He's not been heard of for 3 days. Now, that's a fact. Now, Shoigu's still there, but he's gone. And the other thing we're hearing is Gerasimov. Nobody's hearing from him, but the family of, how do you say his name?
Surovikin.
His family stating we haven't seen or heard from him in 3 days. So it may not be Shoigu going away, but some of these others, it appears. And you never know what the negotiations were. It's all a circus. Do people know that Prigozhin used to be Putin's personal cook and chef?
I think before the war, this is what people mostly knew about Prigozhin. And they were calling him the cook of Putin. And now they know that he has so many like personal businesses in this South Republic and African Republic, and he has yachts, he has own planes, and so on. And by the way, coming back to speech of Lukashenko, he confirmed, and I mean, he is stating that he made Prigozhin to change his mind about Shoigu.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Changing his mind about like moving, doing something about, he said this will not happen. And Lukashenko claiming that this was him who made Prigozhin to change his mind and the plans.
Well, Lukashenko would share with the people that are under his dictatorship that he saved the world. He saved the world, Lukashenko.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Now, back to what, some people may not know that Prigozhin was Putin's chef. My point in sharing that is they know each other. This is not like Prigozhin just kind of started this private military group and Putin's dealing with him. They know each other personally. The man cooked his food. And those are facts. Now, we've talked about...
there is a story which
go
goes
ahead.
years back.
Okay.
There is a story which goes years back, and Prigozhin had different businesses. One of it was a restaurant, like a ferry restaurant, and Putin were using that restaurant, which is like basically on the ferry or ship. And some presidents he were having visits there, like on that restaurant together, eating there before Prigozhin became a cook, and he was responsible. He made a contract with catering of Putin's, let's say, this office or something like that. He was responsible. He was invited to care. This is why they were calling him a cook. And later he got, through that system, he got a contract for supplying food for army and so on. So
and became a billionaire.
Yeah.
Well, speaking, we've talked about Lukashenko, we've talked about Shoigu, we've talked about Sorovikin, we've talked about Putin. We'll show some video in a second, but here's another one, and we pay attention to this because these guys are killing Ukrainians. But here he is today, Kadyrov. You guys know him. We refer to him as Don, leader of Chechnya and the TikTok warrior and all these things. But there he is, standing with Vladimir Putin today after the speech, getting a selfie. In fact, Putin spent a lot of time with people today. He's trying to present an image that he is the man and the savior and the good leader and the one standing for righteousness. Now, Putin in his speech gave 3 options for Wagner. On the right, it says Putin has offered 3 options to Wagner mercenaries: sign contracts with Russian Defense Ministry or other power structures, government structures. Number 2, go home to your families. Number 3, go to Belarus. So from that, we have some confirmation that they're either going to continue to fight, go home, or they will be in Belarus. Over on the left, headline release. Can you translate that perfect instead of my translation on the top?
It says the Institute of Political Researches and Analysis, showing that the rating of Putin grew up till 90% after the attempt of coup d'etat.
Of the political coup d'etat.
Political coup d'etat of Prigozhin.
Of Prigozhin. Yeah, his rating is now at 90% after the coup. And then at the bottom, it may be small for you to read on your monitor there, but it says Russians are ready to pray for their president for 24 hours a day for leadership. So that's what's happening. So he's got 90% approval rating, and Russians are praying for him 24 hours a day. Now, go ahead. I know you want to say something.
Okay. But you see that number, 90% of support of Putin?
Yes.
If you will get back to that day of attempt of Prigozhin, this marching, whatever.
Yeah.
There were so many videos which were showing that the people on the Rostov-on-Don or in other places were supporting Prigozhin.
Correct.
And in Russia as well. And it means that people are in that their society in that condition that they were ready to be under the criminal and living as they were living, or changing immediately up to, okay, no Prigozhin, then Putin, we have a Putin, okay, we pray for Putin. that it's changing like this, and this is Russians.
Because listen, what the world doesn't understand, and many people said, "Oh, I wish Prigozhin would have overthrew him." Okay, do you realize he's a criminal and he's a madman? I mean, either way, it's not good. Here's some video today. I'm not going to play all of it. Let me cut this to this point. This shows Putin coming down. Actually, we'll do this first because I'm going to show this on purpose. Here's Zarubin, who is standing at the top of the steps. This is the personal reporter who gets close for the media to Putin, always telling the story. He's the guy that was there the other night at the generals meeting. He is the guy that went today and traveled with Putin to Derbent. Yeah, Derbent. So here he is. He's introducing and talking about it, and then Putin comes down the steps. This was today in Moscow.
Красное крыльцо, парадный вход в Горновитую палату. Президент выступает здесь крайне редко. Последний раз, пожалуй, в 2018 году, во время инаугурации. Было здесь выступление и в 2020 году, но и тогда ситуация была экстраординарная, пандемия. И вот в обстановке, когда страна достойно пережила, как сказал Путин, угрозу фактически...
All right, so he goes on, he makes his speech. He actually also, during the speech, gives a 60-second moment of silence for the pilots who died during the coup, and then he closes with this.
В стране. Не допустить жертв среди мирного населения. Благодарю вас, весь личный состав вооруженных сил, правоохранительных органов и специальных служб, за службу,
Thank you for your personal
за отвагу
work and
и
sacrifice
за
and
доблесть,
everything you're doing,
за верность народу России.
and for having faith in the nation of Russia. Now the anthem.
Faithfulness to the nation, bravery.
Yeah, bravery. So this is what's
for the bravery and faithfulness to the nation.
Yes, bravery and faithfulness to the nation. So that was in Moscow today. And then let's go here. Okay. So we have all of that happening. We have the selfie with Kadyrov, and let's go here to the map for a second. Of course, all of that happening in Moscow. And then Putin gets on a plane, flies all the way down here to the Caspian Sea. And I know it looks like a long distance. It's probably 2.5 hour flight. And in the evening, he's walking around Derbent, inspecting that city. And if you notice, this is a port city on the Caspian Sea. I want you also to notice this is Iran, Tehran, and we know this is the direction where the supplies are coming through the Caspian Sea to Russia. So you can say what you want to, or project, conjecture, speculate. Regardless, he was in Derbent. I know many people are saying, well, they sent his doppelganger, his number 2 down there because he couldn't get there. I'm not really sure of that, because tonight he's walking around the crowd, and the same reporter who was on the stage with him in Moscow was in Derbent. I don't think he has a doppelganger, so I'm a little slow to talk about that. I'm not always a believer in that every time, and this for sure is not one, even though Putin's behavior here is weird. Here he is in the crowd. So he's reporting about it. Now we're going to get the image. Putin walking over. Now, of course, this is a hand-selected crowd, folks. He's not being swarmed by other people. But here he comes. You can see him in the middle, shaking hands. This is all propaganda, everybody. This is being broadcast in every Russian home tonight. The great leader. Here's another clip. Mama, can you please take a photo? Mama, take a photo. Little girl standing there with the dictator, and there's her selfie. This is the show. This is a show. Your thoughts on the show?
I think the rating has been changed and was lost a little bit during the Prigozhin marching, and because he wasn't traveling like this, he wasn't with the people, or he was keeping people on the distance, or even in quarantine, making people a week or two before the meeting with him, living separately.
Correct, with the
And now,
quarantines.
yes, with the quarantines, and now he's there. So the question why, I think it's a result of evaluation of China comments on that situation, their politics about how stable is Russia and unstable. They cannot trust in some. This is why they stopped for a while the supplying, and a lot of people and the media in the world, they commented that Putin lost his respect, and Prigozhin made it weaker, and now I think it's a result. He's moving there and back, making people crazy, crying, happy. He's there, president with them. He has everything under control, and
he has to paint the picture that Russia is stable.
Yeah,
and it's easier for him to do that now that Prigozhin's gone. China, and it's easier to do it now also because during the coup, remember, as we talked the other night, all the nations that were coming out in support of him saying, we're not for the coup, Vladimir. We're standing with you. Don't worry. So now, speaking of that, this was released by Russian media. Let's go here. Top 5 most rated TV programs of the last very turbulent week. That is from Mediascope, which is in Moscow. Vesti at 8 o'clock. Of course, that's Solovyov, number 1 program. Then there's Moscow Kremlin Putin. That is also a show that happens every night. And then Vesti Nedeli, Vesti Moscow, and News at 11. Those are your top 5 rated programs. It's not Survivor and Russia's Got Talent, Big Brother, and The Bachelor Moscow. It's the 5 news and propaganda programs. Folks, this is just the way it is.
We don't see here the 60 minutes with Solovyov.
Yeah, 60, correct. 60 minutes with Solovyov.
No, we don't see it here. Yeah.
All right, let's get to a topic that's close to us. Unfortunately, now we need to talk about Kramatorsk. Kramatorsk, of course, in the east of Ukraine. This is a city that you and I have spent a ton of time in. Kramatorsk would be the city where we were hanging off the 9th floor. This is the location of Kramatorsk right here. And I go, yeah, Kramatorsk. Then, of course, just so folks know, this is how close it is. This is Bakhmut. But this ring here, there's a road that's a ring. And this is a very, very important area with the cities of Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinivka. Very, very important. And the world knows that. So we're not sharing anything. But Kramatorsk, where you and I have spent much time, ridden past this cafe many times, was hit and by 2 Iskanders. As of right now, 11 dead, 61 wounded, and the collaborator who marked the location of the cafe has already been found. I've got some video here, and then we'll get the comments on it. Here's the like a overhead view of the strike. This is soon after, and you can see people in the rubble looking for survivors and cleaning stuff out or looking for wounded. Powerful missiles, man. People running to help. You can just look at that. this is the reality, because it's a drone in the air, of Kramatorsk. Now, it was a cafe, pizzeria. And, here we try to tell people the truth. So, A, it was a cafe. B, there were civilians. The Russian propaganda story is, let's see, do I have that here? The Russian propaganda story is it's the 101 Airborne was there, and foreign mercenaries were there, and their marker, the person who drops the pin or confirms the location, reported back to Russia that foreign military was there or collaborate, whatever. And that's the reason it was struck. Jane and I always try to tell you the truth. This has also been released. There are foreign trainers there. There were foreign trainers in the cafe 20 minutes before the strike, according to their own information. This Ukrainian here that posted these images should have never posted them. That's the evil of social media and why Ukraine is so strong on being very stringent on what people can post. The collaborator's been caught, and a lot of civilians have died due to this. So, your thoughts, man? I mean, it's ugly.
In fact, we may check the people who was these people who died. It was the young girls, and 8-month baby was wounded, survived, but 8 months. And this is what Russia calling their, and this is reality. This is what Russian propaganda. So happy people there on TV that they striked NATO, some advisors, something.
I've got that clip. You can translate it because I just got it, and it's 7 seconds. Let him say it, and then you translate him.
Удар по Краматорску, это просто шик, я скажу. Я вот снимаю шляпу перед тем, кто его планировал, кто его осуществил. Песня просто песня.
What did he say?
The strike on Kramatorsk, it was something awesome. I just bowed down before that person, and it just like a nice song to see it.
Yeah, and this is what he's glorifying. He's glorifying this. He's glorifying. Here you see military, civilians, police, rescue, all working together to. I'm sure, that photographer was right there, and this may have been them trying to clear to get this girl out. Can't confirm it, but most likely, these two girls, twin girls, were killed. And
was it NATO instructors?
No, in fact, they have a picture there of their school that says Shkola. They just had that was a pencil drawing. They were 14 years old, twins. They're dead now. Now, with that said, we were discussing this before we went on camera tonight. Were there instructors around there? Yes.
Probably there were.
Probably. But
yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But the fact is, the target rained down and killed civilians. So you told me before we went on, you said, Greg, this is why, even when we're traveling on the frontline places, it's very important that we're in a very small group, because usually it's just me and you. We don't take anybody with us to the very front. Or we took Andrew, he wanted to go. but we do not travel with 6, 8, and 10 people. We have people helping us up to a point, and then we go to the very front, because A, it's safer, B, it's only us, and you don't have 6 people running around, like you said, speaking English, because these foreign people that are there to help, whether it's Americans, British, or any other nation, if Europeans, they're going to speak English to each other. And these collaborators will just go out and make a call and say, hey, there's 5 people in that cafe speaking English. They got to be the enemy. So this is the danger.
Yeah. I think it could be any situation. Could be us there talking between us, and the other people could come speaking some, because as you know, Ukrainian in Ukrainian army, commanders, doctors are speaking English, and it could be any. So any collaborator could tag it. Oh, so I see 8 of people speaking English, so just kill them all. But in reality, they proved they're terrorists 100%, and Ukraine are seeing it, and so important for the world would see what is real.
And you have to think about this as well. There's a collaborator running around there giving that information away. Eating in the same cafe, sitting at the table beside you, eating pizza, smiling and waving and walking out the door and calling Russia. I mean, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
A war. It's a war. I can tell you one thing, and we do, everybody is respectful. In fact, a lot of the soldiers on the front, we've shared video. They speak Russian, a lot of the frontline soldiers, because they're from eastern regions as well, and they speak Ukrainian. But when I'm there speaking Russian, nobody ever yells at me and says, speak Ukrainian. They know I don't know how to speak Ukrainian. I can speak Russian. I can tell you one thing, when we're on the front again next time, I'm speaking no English. Zero. Only in private rooms, because it's dangerous. Now, Zhenya, this is interesting. You may or may not know this, but do you know what happened 1 year ago today in the war? 1 year ago today. Oh, sorry. 1 year ago on the anniversary of the Kramatorsk strike. Do you know what happened?
Not exactly. The 1 year and 1 or 2 days, it was the strike on Kremenchuk. Yeah. It's 27th.
27th, correct.
Yeah, it was a strike on Kremenchuk.
That's right, on the shopping mall. Now they're striking and hitting the pizza joint in the shopping area. This is what they do. So we've shown you the real pictures, folks. That's the reality of Kramatorsk right there. Last couple of things for tonight. Let's go here.
And okay, yeah. I want to put it in,
go ahead.
Just put it in here. And this is, when I see that, and I remember reading the news, the Switzerland, they made decision one more time to be neutral to this and not supply Ukrainian, not helping Ukrainian army. Being neutral in this situation is being 50-50, okay, agree with that situation. Because this is a war, when we playing poker, you cannot be neutral, because somebody win, somebody lose, so he gets a medal, the other one not. When it's a war, one is aggressor, the other one is protecting their own land. And in this situation, being in neutral it means what? It means comparing it, this is the same as a game, or what? How to explain it?
Switzerland blocked 110 tanks today. That's what he's referring to. Okay, Zhenya, we're going to go down a road now which we could do another program on, but it's philosophical, and it's the social realities of the modern world. I was born in 1972. When I grew up playing Little League Baseball, you won or you lost. Winners got the trophies. Losers went home and went to practice. If things didn't go right, your coach worked you over. And we learned it's important to learn how to win. And it's important to learn how to lose and how to be graceful and how to be grateful and how to realize you need to improve. But unfortunately, in 2023, especially in America, and I'm not really sure about Europe, but in our culture right now, that's trying to be eliminated. You know, you play sports now with kids, nobody can win. Everybody gets a participation trophy. There's really no winner. There's really no loser. Everybody's just trying to do the best for themselves. And this mentality is what's creeping in. And now maybe we're seeing the effects of that on these kids that have grown up in that are now in their late 20s and 30s and early 40s, having to make these decisions. And they're going, well, you know, I don't really believe in winners and losers. I believe that everything's going to be okay. And it's really a problem in our society. We need winners and we need losers. Ukraine needs to win this war. Putin needs to be destroyed. And we need reality back in this world, because if we continue down the route we're going, Ukraine's just going to be the first. Ukraine's just going to be the first. It's going to continue. Do you realize now? Listen, sorry. Look, here's the map. Wagner coming to Belarus. You know who got worried today? And they came out and said so? Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Okay, now we have the Wagner on our borders. They're coming. So you can speculate all you want, but it's a problem. It's a problem. So sorry
it's
to
a problem with mentality. Yeah, it's a problem with mentality, because this situation can create how you call it, precedent, where trying to be neutral in where, like, think about September 11.
Go ahead.
Like, how world, I mean, what world would I mean, what country could take, like, I mean, this and comment, oh, we cannot get inside, or like, let's not criticize it, let's be neutral to this. How it's possible? Okay, breaking the law, any terrorist, I don't know, so many terroristic organization, and now, okay, what if the 40% of the countries will take this position? It means they will bring on a plate the planet. I mean, like,
the world's message.
We neutral.
But you know, a lot of that comes from a lot of mess that's especially from, sorry, but extremely conservative people who are misguided. And all they want to scream about is how corrupt Ukraine is, and we can't support that. And that's where these messages start to come from. And I defend it by saying, yes, there is corruption in Ukraine, and Zelensky's doing his best to clean it up. And then people don't believe that, but that's their prerogative. I could care less. I just share with the truth. But I've got news for you. There's equal corruption in Germany and Britain and France and Italy and Russia and the United States of America, if not even more in the United States of America. In our country right now, you can walk into San Francisco and rob a drugstore and walk out, and they can't even call the police. Welcome to reality. You can't even walk down the streets of San Francisco. Sorry. You can't even walk down the streets of San Francisco without human fecal matter and homeless people everywhere. And I know homeless people need help. That's not what I'm talking about. You can't move through the city of Los Angeles because in K-Town, you've got 60,000 homeless people living in tents and mobile little buildings, and they're being paid money by the state of California. But we're going to comment on the corruption of Ukraine. Sorry. It's a disaster.
Yeah, but okay, let's back to history then. Let's re-evaluate of helping USSR at that time fighting against Hitler. Why? Because right before what we had in USSR, that time, Soviet Union, genocide of Ukrainians.
Absolutely.
I mean, and the other nations, right before the war. Okay, it was war. I mean, it was really comparing to what, I mean, even worse in some cases than Russia has now.
People forget.
What about corruption? It was like freely. They were thousands of people just killing with no war. Just check the history. Why Churchill started to help? Because it was the evil, and it wasn't about supporting Soviet Union. It was fight against of Hitler and fascism and Nazism. It was about that.
Many people
And
forget Stalin killed 20 million. 20 million.
Why then? Okay, then what? I mean, how? Yes, we have corruption, as maybe in some cases much more. We fight with it, looking for the ways. Ukraine in the middle of this process, but we have aggressor killing our people now, and
Correct.
we cannot play these political games at this time. Why then? World War II, the other countries we're not discussing so much about, okay, is the United Soviet Union enough corrupted to help, or maybe Hitler will take it. Okay, why not? No.
You spot on, bud.
And now what?
And now what? This is now what? You talking about the reality? We have no idea how many people were killed on both banks of the river from the Kakhovka Dam being exploded. We know that they also want to take out Kryvyi Rog. They've missed. And we also know every day warnings about Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Yesterday or 2 days ago, it was Zelensky. And today it was Dmitry Kuleba, the foreign minister, screaming they're going to do it. We'll see. Titan chemical plant down in northern Crimea, the same thing. But Russia on the left bank is not allowing locals or the military to state cause of death as drowning. It has to be heart related, heart failure, heart problem. This is how people died. This is what they do. And people don't realize it. And if you want to see what they do, here's a granny. Forget the translation. Don't need it. I didn't need to translate it. Look what this lady's living in.
Бабушку нашли. Бабушка, кушайте, пожалуйста.
They found their grandma.
Вот так
She's hungry.
дома.
They said, eat it.
Не лишилось ничего.
Please.
Все в болоте. Все
Nothing left.
ждите.
Nightmare.
Затопило. Бабушка переживает, проживает уже, вторую войну.
She living through the second war with her age.
Просто капец. Вода была везде. Тут до сих пор.
Everywhere she had water, and she still has some water on the and the mud.
Потолка гипсокартон был. Смыло, повырывало все. Просто жах.
All of it were in the water.
Pretty little home she had there, of course, destroyed. And I'm sure people that watch this stream, you've experienced, nothing like that, but maybe your basement flooded at some time or some room flooded from a heavy rain, and the destruction. That's repeated thousands and thousands of times. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the word of the day. Ridiculous. Here's ridiculous. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary. Quote, Ukraine is no longer a sovereign country. That's enough right there. I mean, no longer a sovereign country. Did you know you're not in a sovereign country anymore? But just so if you didn't know, Orban's letting you know. The issue of peace is decided by the United States on its behalf. Quote. Further, he said this is where Hungary officially stands. Supplying weapons to Ukraine is a wrong way. It will never defeat the Russian Federation and will only lead to death. Secondly, In regard to Hungary, this is not our war. It's the war of Ukrainians. Third, peace is the only correct solution. It's necessary for a ceasefire immediately, which would mean giving away Ukrainian territory. And Ukraine has no place in NATO, and Putin is not a war criminal. And by the way, we've had Ukrainian prisoners of war on our sovereign territory in Hungary. So how about that for a border nation? They're really good.
Question. This is the NATO country.
Yes.
This is the part of EU Union country. How many countries after that it was a prime minister? Second, it was a prime minister. It wasn't some media guy crazy or superstar singer. It was prime minister.
Second.
How many countries sent them official diplomatic note that they're questioning the other countries, their politic? The question, how many countries send a note official? 0.
Okay. You know what? People can get mad at me if they want. I don't care anymore. Listen. So everybody in here in this stream right now is going, oh, I mean, most, unless they're pro, the invader. They're going, yeah, that Orban's a bad guy. How can he say Ukraine's no longer a sovereign country? How can he say Putin's not a war criminal? How can he say all these things? First thing I'm going to show you is this right here. For those of you that are wondering, this is the nation here, Hungary, right there. It is a border nation with Ukraine. It's located between Romania and Slovakia. So this guy is saying this. So you've got, but you said, well, man, what a bad guy. Well, how about this? 2022 in Dallas, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban got a standing ovation from the Trump faithful. He said the globalists can all go to hell. The authority and populace said at CPAC, I have come to Texas. Here he is making a speech in Dallas, Texas at a CPAC convention and getting a standing ovation. 2022 after the war started, by the way. So that's where it's at. That's where it's at. I know this is not about American politics, but it's reality. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very conservative, which I'm conservative. Don't get me wrong. I'm conservative, but I think America needs fresh blood everywhere, fresh politics, as the whole world probably does. We need a new start, a reset, a start. Please don't run with the reset conspiracy, guys. That was a word. I shouldn't have even said that word. Now I got those conspiracies going. But we need a fresh start. And people want to start screaming about how bad he is, and at the same moment scream about how others are so good. They're sharing the stage together. Most people don't even know these things. No good. We went down some rabbit holes tonight.
This is, as for me, it's like, I don't know, Europe Union helping people, having millions of refugees from Ukraine. And the one country is saying Ukraine, has zero sovereignty. No, it's not a sovereign country. And this is not our war. It's their war. And what does it mean for you? Nothing. It will stay in the EU. What about NATO? So it means everything is okay with Alliance to have a member like this with these statements, or maybe possible.
It's traitor. Dude, there's no strong leaders. The only one that was bold is gone, Boris Johnson. The rest of them, they make little statements here and there, but they're cowards. NATO should have immediately come out, or one of the leaders of the major countries in the EU should have come out and says, that is not the opinion we share. Period. But nobody says a peep. Nobody says a peep. Let's go to the last thing for tonight, right here. This is a diagram released showing what Ukraine is having to battle through on their offensive.
Sorry,
all right, go back. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. In reality, everything Russia is being blocked by EU, but for the Hungary, because their situation in a metro so important that they allowed for Russia continue to supply the metro parts for the metro and would take care of metro, of Hungarian metro. This is important to remember, that the metro needs to be repaired. Brother, but sovereignty of the other country is not a question. How does it work together?
There is no telling what Hungary is doing to help the Russian economy. That's fact. This is why I keep saying sanctions will never work.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. Good. She's deep tonight. It's okay. A lot of folks enjoy it when we go long. So some like it when we're short, and some like long, and we try to do a little both. Let's go here.
Okay.
This is what Ukraine is having to deal with, this diagram. This is a typical mine setup with the 3 lines and then all of the back layers. And Russia has completely, I got so much disagreement when I said the front was frozen, but for real, for 1 year, it didn't move basically other than the Battle of Bakhmut. And that was slow. During this entire time, Russia has basically just been mining the entire front line and creating a defensive position. And Ukraine now, we've gained up like 300 square kilometers, which is great. So we are gaining territories. We talked about on Monday night, but it's very slow. One of the reasons is due to this. It's difficult to get through these minefields. And what were you telling me about the NATO? Even if NATO was here, you couldn't move quick?
Yeah, one of the former commanders, I think, all the military guys, he said of NATO, he said that the NATO army would have difficulties with the fast moving, having on their way that big quantity of the mines and that quality of the mines and these different kind of the mines, because some mines are they digging in, some mines just throwing with MLRS, the cassettes, and different types of the mines they're using, and with that kind of equipment what Ukraine has, and like anti-mine equipment, the mining equipment, it's for any army it would be a challenge.
Ukraine said that if you take the level of demining equipment they have right now, to effectively make stronger pushes on the front, they need 12 times more demining equipment. This is the seriousness of the mines. I think it was either you or one of our buddies there in the military when we were out actually in the Kramatorsk area, some of those big fields, and we would see where Russia had shot those projectiles down and they had the capsules, and when they land, then the mines just go out everywhere. I mean, it's just indiscriminate mining. It's so dangerous, so dangerous for everybody and dangerous for the military trying to push. But we will. Malyar came out today. I'll close with this. Said we are doing good on the northern side and the southern side of Bakhmut, but no, we have not re-entered the city of Bakhmut. And she said, and that's the deputy defense minister. She said, really, there's just nothing left in Bakhmut, and they're still leveling it every day. Here's some videos released with that statement. This is Bakhmut. I mean, what are they blowing up there? I mean, do they have that much of that S3, and I know that's not S300s, that's artillery, but do they have that much artillery that they can just level a city they've already destroyed and just keep shooting at it?
It can be tanks, artillery, it can be different types, and they're just using it, and surely they're using their all kind of weapon to destroy. And right in this moment, okay, we just seen the Bakhmut.
Mm-hmm.
Right in this moment, there is explosions in Kharkiv. This is what about Ukrainian reality. And my relatives in Kiev,
Mm-hmm.
they checking if they see that there is a planes, Russian planes in the air. Some of them coming in the corridor to sleep on the floor because they're tired of moving during the night from the bed to corridor and the backward. And now this is reality.
It is
reality that my wife is experiencing kind of fear to get back to Ukraine because there is no guarantee that my kids would not be killed by Russians. Shrapnel, S-300, I don't know, Kinjal, whatever.
Ukraine.
This is reality.
Well, the reality also is Ukraine releasing, and I didn't use the graphic tonight, but Ukraine releasing that instead of the amount of missiles being fired on Ukraine going down, it's actually increasing. So for all of those folks out there that were 3 months ago counting and saying, well, they're going to soon be out. They're out. They're out. How's that working for you? They're working 24/7. And it was about a month ago that it may have been Peskov. I think it was Peskov was stating our military factories are going 24/7 and double capacity. They're building missiles. Not only that, they're getting them from Iran. They're getting Iranian missiles. They just fire them, folks. This is where we're at. We had a great opportunity to make a real major difference in the war this past weekend. You know, if NATO or anybody could have jumped in on that golden moment of that chaos, even if it was planned, whatever it ended up being, it was a great moment to jump in and make a difference. But that's passed, and now it looks like Russia's not only trying to save face, but being very aggressive in doing so. So,
helping Ukraine now, it's saving life.
That's it.
It's helping Ukraine now, it's saving life. Because if we have an option to finish a war in 4 months or 40 months, or I don't know.
Well, you and I are on the same page, and that's what this community is about. We try to tell the truth, even if it puts egg on Ukraine's face. We're here to tell the truth. Sometimes we're here to help people and to fight for Ukrainian sovereignty and this nation that has sovereign borders and their own culture. And this is a tragedy that's unfolding now for 488 or 490 days. Yeah, 490 days. And we're going to continue to tell the truth. But, you know, even you and I, we get upset, even with people that are high ranking in Ukrainian military and SBU that were saying, you know, March and April, well, by the end of May, we'll have Crimea back. By the end of June, we'll have Crimea back. You know, those are just stupid statements. Because, and the reason I say that is because Ukraine would need extra help from NATO, not just supplies, to make that happen that quickly. It's going to happen, but it's not going to be quick. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to die. So we're here to help them. Thank you, buddy. Been a great update tonight. Folks, day 492 will be Friday. Zhenya will be doing the update. It's my turn now. We're both getting old. He's had his shoulder surgery, and now it's my turn. I'm having a head surgery. And I know many of you out there that don't like my stuff. You might think it's brain surgery, but it's not. I've got a little spot right here. Basal cell that will be being removed, and I'll be having that procedure on Friday. So Zhenya will be doing the update on day 492. So thank you, boss man. We love you.
And I will share that update. I will share the new small project about the water reservoir we will buy for one of the villages, one of the closest villages to Kakhovka Dam. We got request today.
So, are you telling me in this community that everyone supports and helps, and we were able to send resources today? We're going to put a water reservoir into a village right near the dam.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Today, this morning, I got confirmation. I got special request, not just that. On the next update, I will share more.
Good. Well, folks, be here on Friday. You're going to hear about the work we're all doing together for water down there where there is no water that's clean. Thank you all for being here. Jania, thank you. Long update tonight, so get you some sleep, buddy. And I'll holler at you guys. Guys, if anything goes crazy, of course, we'll come in unscheduled. You guys will get the notification. That's why it's important. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you're notified if we give updates. And if not, Jane, you'll see you Friday. Be blessed, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Heart from Ukraine, as always. And be blessed.
Doo-doo. Oh.